Now, I've come across these videos several times because I deal so much in off-plan development. So at times, investors and clients, they ask me, is there even mortgage? Is there even mortgage in Nigeria? Does mortgage exist? Or these mortgages that we even read about in the newspaper, that we see online, does mortgage actually exist or work in Nigeria? In case you are coming across a video like this for the first time, please meet the Property Guy Property channel, and this will discuss everything real estate here in Nigeria: terms, documentation, return on investment, risk assessment, analysis, locations. We dissect everything for avid investors, beginners, and even first-time investors who are about to start investing in real estate. This is the ideal channel for you. Now, after watching this particular educative guide, I also advise you also go to our channel page. There are so many topics I've covered about Airbnb, shortlets, Epe, Eleko, Ibejuleki, Korodu, Alagbado, Lekki, Kate. There's basically no location you want to invest that I've not covered. So you are definitely going to learn a lot. So let's go into the topic. Does mortgage actually exist here in Nigeria? Now, for some people who don't understand what we even mean by mortgage, although I know a lot of our guys, our contacts over there abroad, in the UK, in the US, in Europe, they are so familiar with mortgages. Now, mortgage is just a financing system. You can call it a loan also. It's a financing system where we have institutions that finance the purchase of your home. So you want to buy a house, you don't really have to buy with your money. These institutions, based on your credit score and your financial capacity, they can finance the house purchase while you are now paying them back. Now, in Nigeria also, we also have a couple of mortgages. The most popular one, we have the Federal Mortgage Bank, FMBN, Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, and their mortgage scheme is NHF, which is the National Housing Fund. So it's a federal mortgage scheme, and it covers the entire Nigeria. Either you are buying a property in Lagos, Ibadan, Ogun State, Enugu, Port Harcourt, in the north, Abuja, everywhere. The FMBN NHF covers it. Now, the second mortgage we have is what we call commercial mortgage. Now, actually, most commercial banks we have in Nigeria have a mortgage arm. It's just that they don't really advertise the mortgage arm as much as they advertise their savings part. So, Access Bank has a mortgage, First Bank has a mortgage, Union Bank has a mortgage. Which one is popular again? And there are also some banks which their primary focus are on mortgages. City Code Mortgage Bank, First Trust Mortgage, Imperial Trust Mortgage, Jubilee Mortgage, so many on. There are too many. So mortgage actually exists. Now, but why is it that most Nigerians are not familiar with this scheme or this financing system, or why are most Nigerians not enjoying the mortgage system? Now, for NHF, which is a federal mortgage scheme, most civil servants already they are registered under NHF, because as the federal government are paying you, they are deducting a particular percentage of your salary as a civil servant as a monthly contribution towards NHF. So they're just trying to make it easy so that civil servants can eventually use these little contributions to apply for a mortgage funding and then to buy or build a house. But as usual, with most other federal schemes here in Nigeria, the NHF is so bureaucratic. We've had cooperatives, individuals, companies that have applied for NHF for their staffs or for their members 3 years, 4 years, all they have is application number. All they have is application number. And then we have people that have also applied 6 months, they've got it. 3 months, they've got it. 1 year, they've got it. Especially in Abuja. People in Abuja are enjoying NHF very well. But in Lagos here, their awareness is very low. Now, for commercial mortgages also work home-based mortgages, the standard chartered mortgages, the Imperial mortgages there, Jubilee mortgages there. Even most of these mortgages, they have housing development, Unity mortgage. Yeah, they have housing developments that they finance. So a mortgage bank can buy a property, maybe 2 acres, 20 acres, build houses there and sell those houses based on their own mortgage scheme. So they can just allow people that off-takers, that's what we call people that are buying. They can allow off-takers to buy these houses on 15 years mortgage, 20 years mortgage, as long as they meet those financial credibility. Is quite common. There are so many estates by Unity mortgages. There are some estates developed also by Jubilee Bank, and there are also some developers which home-based mortgage are also cooperating or in partnership with, just to make it easy for people to apply and access these mortgages. Now, but despite the fact that there are so many mortgages options, there are so many mortgage banks, why are people still not enjoying it? At least if a lot of Nigerians know that they can buy a property, buy a house and pay for like 15 years, pay for 10 years, why are we still having like 70 million housing deficit? Now, one of the biggest challenge with mortgages generally in Nigeria, both for the NHF by FMBN and the commercial mortgages, is the low awareness. Most of these mortgages are not really advertising or putting it out there enough. And I won't really blame them, because even the people that have really applied, that know is existing and have applied for these mortgages, a lot of them have become frustrated or disappointed because they could not get the fund. Like I said, we have people that have applied for NHF 4 years, 3 years, all they have is tracking number and application number. So the awareness is very low, and also the people that have applied, most of them are not really successful. Now for NHF, the interest rate on NHF is quite like the most affordable. You can't get a lesser interest rate than NHF. NHF officially is 6% per annum. 6% on the reducing balance per annum. Now, what do you mean by the 6% on the reducing balance is this. Now, the max you can get from NHF is 15 million. So let's say you are a civil servant, you apply, you are earning well, 500, 800k, you apply under NHF, and then NHF give you 15 million to buy a house. You bought the house, and then now you are repaying NHF. The first year, okay, before you even get the loan, you have to pay 10% as an equity. So you pay 1.5 million, NHF give you 15 million, NHF finance the 15 million. That means your balance will be like 13.5 million, if I'm not mistaken. So 13.5 million is what you have to pay back to NHF. Now, the first year you paid 3.5 million out of your loan. So that means you have 10 million naira left. So the 6% will be charged on the 10 million and added to it. So the next year you pay 2 million. Then your balance is like maybe another 9 point something million. The 6% is added to it. That's why we call it on reducing balance. So which means that the faster you clear off a big part or a big chunk of the mortgage, the lower the amount, the interest that will be accrued on that mortgage. Now, for most mortgages, if you default, they will just remove you and evacuate you out of the house. It's simple. The house that the mortgages are financing are the collateral, basically. So you can't meet up your mortgage, they chase you out of the house, and then just that they do a foreclosure. They sell the house and get their money back. Now, for commercial mortgages, it's crazy. And that's why most of people are avoiding commercial mortgages, because the interest rate is very high. 17%, 18%, 19%, 21%, 22% on reducing balance per annum. Crazy. So that's why a lot of people don't even go that route at all. But there are still people applying and getting commercial mortgages comfortably. Most of the people that are buying houses in Ikoyi and buying houses in Banana Island, they are buying with commercial mortgages. It's mortgage companies that are financing most of these houses. So, and that's why most mortgage banks, they have concentrated their market in that axis, where they can make a lot of money from people that just need financing for houses in billions. So the interest rate on commercial mortgages are very high, although I think there are a few doing 13%, 16%, 15%. But most times the average you are going to get is 17, 18% per annum, which is very, very high. Now, why is the interest this high? It's not the fault of these mortgages, actually. It's just our bad markets and our high inflation rates. In every economy, if a bank is giving out a loan, they will always charge an interest rate higher than the inflation rate. Because if the interest rate they are charging you is lower than the inflation rate, the bank are making a loss. What this means is that if a bank is financing for a house 50 million and they are charging 10% as the interest rate, and every year the inflation rate is 15%, it means that by the time you pay back the money to the bank would have made a loss, because that money will not be valued at 50 million again. So which means the only institution that can finance in Nigeria with interest rates below inflation rate are the government, and that's why there is FMBN, and that's why it's ineffective. So but for most commercial mortgages that are in the market for profit, they will always charge an interest rate that will be higher than the inflation rate. Because I think the last time, the most recent record for our inflation rate stood at around 15 point something percent. So that's why a lot of them will also want to charge an interest rate around 17% to ensure that at least what they are getting back as repayments still hedge inflation. Hope you get it now. So don't blame the mortgage banks too much. It's just our crazy market here. Now, and that's why a lot of developers, a lot of housing developers, because if this mortgage scheme are effective, housing developers that want to develop can easily walk to mortgage banks that, okay, we have these estates, 20 acres, 20 hectares, we have the CFO, we want to build 500 houses there, come and finance for us. We are going to pay you back at so interest per annum. But because the interest that most mortgage and commercial banks are going to charge are very high, that's why most property developers are creating real estate trust funds. So instead of going to banks, they are coming to investors direct. So instead of paying the interest to banks, they are instead paying dividends or return on investment to investors. hope you are getting it now. And then, assuming these mortgage banks are also very easy, it's not only developers that can work to them. Off-takers, which is people that need home, people that are working, earning very well, earning 6 figures, 5 figures, can also work to the bank that, hey, I want to buy a house. This is my financial statement, this is my pay slip. I want to buy a property in so estate, finance the purchase for me, I'm going to pay you back. But because the interest is too high, it doesn't make any financial sense for a lot of salary people to do that, because you're just shooting yourself in the leg. But it makes a lot of sense for business owners. So now, despite the challenges with the mortgage, there are still opportunities there. Like I said, NHF is bureaucratic, but there are still people getting NHF in 6 months. There are still people getting NHF within 8 months. There are still people getting NHF within 9 months. Actually, most of the people that are even getting the NHF, they are not even civil servants. They are not even civil servants. You know, so they just work it out and just get that 15 million salary money. Now, for commercial mortgages also, there is also a workaround. If you want to buy a property of 100 million and you want a mortgage to finance for you, the most sensible thing for you to do if you are in Nigeria is for you to have 50% equity. Although most banks are going to finance with 20%, 25% equity, but if you are following that and you give them 20% or 30% and then you are paying 70% back to the bank, the interest rate will kill you. But if you can adopt 50% equity, you adopt 50 million, the bank then finance 50 million. The first 3 years, you are able to clear off 30% of the debts. Then you can use the remaining 7 years or 6 years to clear off the remainder 20% or 25% of the debts, because the interest rates that will be charged on 20% balance is not the same with interest rate that will be charged on 50% balance. So basically, you are just using their money to buy that property, while you can use the other balance you have. Instead of putting all the entire money on that property, you put 50% on that property, the remaining 50% you put it in your business or another business, you diversify it, make return on that business, pay off another part of the mortgage, not all, pay off another part of it. just ensure that the balance there, the interest that it will be accruing is very low, and you can reduce, I can spread the remaining balance over the 10 years or 7 years or whatever that remain. So you see, so you can see that it makes sense. So instead of you paying 70 million over 15 years or 10 years, this time around, you've first ensure that you are paid 50 million, 50%, you get 50% from them, which is now you are paying the bank around 50 million. So in the first 3 years, you clear off around like 30 million, although the interest will still be adding, but as long as you have cleared around 30 million or 35 million, the interest will still be around like maybe, with the balance will still be around like 25, 28, 30 million. But at least you can spread the 30 million, the interest that will be accrued on 30 million over 7 years will not be the same interest that will be accrued on 70 million naira balance. So you get now. So mortgage really exists here in Nigeria. Mortgage really works here in Nigeria. Just that it's not the same as it is abroad, though. Where you guys are paying 1% interest, or even some people with 0.5% interest. It's not the same here. Interest rate is crazy. So these are just the details of how the mortgages here work, NHF from NMBN, and also the commercial mortgages. Now, if you really want to learn more, you want to know more about the mortgage market, the off-plan market here in Nigeria, you can definitely reach me. My WhatsApp number is on the screen. I can also share some of the requirements with you. The requirement for Nigerians abroad is different though. Even some of them don't even finance for Nigerians abroad at all. So, but for a few that finance for Nigerians abroad, the requirement is entirely different. Entirely different. And very, very stressful too. So, but there are also opportunities for Nigerians abroad to also access mortgages with high interest rates to buy properties here too. So, as even more property on the planet, or property advisor, or property consultant, if you have any feedback, if you have any perspective, any opinion, if you've assessed or tried applying to any mortgages here in Nigeria, you can also drop a comment. Let's talk. Let it be interactive. You can share your experience with us. If you're able to access it, if there's even any mortgage that you are paying abroad right now, how it is, how the interest rate is, you can also share your comments. Let's learn, let's share advice together. I'll be very, very open to that. Thanks once again. If you have not subscribed and you have been learning a lot from what I've been sharing, I don't know, kindly try to subscribe. I really want to expand my subscribers list and also expand my views. So try to subscribe, share with your friends, give us a thumb like, drop a comment. We are going to appreciate everything. Thanks. See you next time.